What is up, guys? Welcome back to the SuperCoach Experience podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Savage, the coach of the Xavier Turbos. We're back for a Patreon Q&A episode for tonight, for your Wednesday night, and the Dolphins are set to have mass exclusions from their side. It looks like up to 5 people are going to miss out on Friday's clash against the Rabbitohs. So hopefully we can keep updated there. It looks like Mark Nichols is the name that's gone around. Maybe Cody Nicarima after his wife come out and absolutely slammed the NRL. But yeah, we are here today. We are answering your questions on Patreon. If you haven't subscribed to the Patreon, head over. We've got a WhatsApp chat going and we've got a few extra things, lots of extra content here and there for you guys to digest while setting your teams up and throughout the year with your trades and everything like that. Just wanted to quickly give a shout out to everybody who listened to the podcast yesterday, the Team List Tuesday podcast. We had issues with the audio. There's been a buzzing sound that we've been dealing with for a couple of weeks, and I've tried to just think it's not an issue because our studio have told us it's not an issue, but it's come out yesterday and the audio was not good. So I really apologize. And if you're here now, it means you weathered the storm. And firstly, I appreciate you guys for weathering the storm and sitting through that because I probably wouldn't have, to be honest. But we make sure audio is something that we've always prided on. I've always prided on having good audio, especially from home. I think if you're going to record a podcast, it's got to be as the highest quality. And it wasn't good enough on Tuesday. So we're going to rectify that then next week. I've definitely tried to tinker with things and try and do different edits. You might have noticed there's been a few times where you listen to the podcast and sometimes it's too loud, and when it's too loud at some points and then it's too soft at some points. I'm just doing a bit of a fuck it attitude and going to fix it myself because I know what the issue is. Our studio, they've got these cameras that aren't really up to date, I guess. Like, they're very good cameras, don't get me wrong, but they've got like a little media thing in between that like syncs them up, and I think something in between gets that buzzing noise. And then on Tuesday, I think I kicked a cord for Grant's microphone to come out, and then like the video's out of sync sometimes because of this program they use. So it's all happening. Oh my God. It's a lot to deal with, but we move on, and everyone is still listening to the podcast. So I appreciate you guys, and I hope you accept my apology. Firstly, let's shout out Picklebet, our bet of the week. St. George Illawarra Dragons at $2.50 via Picklebet. Use the code TURBO when signing up. Make sure to know what you're really gambling with. For free and confidential support, call 1-800-858-858. Use code TURBO. St. George at $2.50 at Nexstrata Jubilee Stadium. The Bulldogs, they look pretty good. Like, they look like they haven't changed much in their roster in over from last year to this year. But in my opinion, St. George have something to prove, and round one, they're going to go for it. So I really like St. George at $2.50. They may have come in. Let me just double check that. The Roosters tomorrow, by the way, $3.10. St. George have gone down to $2.40. So make sure to jump on that bet. I've been riding it all weekend. We do have some late mail. Sil Wong comes in at number 13. Nat Butcher is out, and they have a rookie coming on to their extended bench, number 17. I don't think Sil Wong is an option, just obviously because Nat Butcher isn't dropped. He's not dropped. He's not going to be missing out on that side. But the Roosters' depth already being tested. I expect the Broncos to have a comfortable win there. And a lot of today's questions are revolved around a few Broncos players. So let's get this going already. The Patreon question. So I've screenshotted everything from Patreon so you can see it on the YouTubes. Munster versus Brown, says Greg. Greg, currently I have Dylan Brown, so I don't want to try and wool pull you and say, oh, I think Munster's better. Munster has a bye round 2, then he has Penrith in round 3. I do like Munster at the price, and I think he moved very well, but I think over the first 3 weeks, 3-4 weeks, you're going to get more points from Brown than you are from Munster. Yes, it is 50K difference, but 50K is not much in the salary cap these days. Find it somewhere else. Dylan Brown, he's playing for a contract in his first 10 weeks, and dare I say it's probably going to be organised before that. He already has been offered a monster deal at Newcastle, but with Volkman playing in the side, no Moses, this is his time to step up. I think he's going to start well. So I think you've got to go Brown. Yes, he's not the pod. Munster is very tempting, but I think Munster's the play if you anti-pod and Metcalf. I think Brown and Munster's a decent combo if you did anti-pod Metcalf, but yeah, I wouldn't be going Munster instead of Brown. 50K difference. I know it's so tempting, and I know you're trying to squeeze absolutely everything you can out, but yeah, I do think Parramatta Eels show up. Melbourne Storm are at $1.08 on the weekend to win, but I think it's going to be a lot closer than that. We've got Danny Rowler. How many is too many to antipod? Iongi, Duffy, Smith, and Garrick. Garrick is I haven't got enough cash to the others, and I have guns. I don't trust many hookers when Grant has the buy, so I've got Marnie. Am I wrong for doing this if it makes sense? Shout out to the Master Wolf. He was very high on Reed Marnie. It's an ongoing joke in one of our chats that Reed Marnie is the goated hooker because he started with him. And I actually like what I saw from the stats. Personally, I would have loved to go Blake Brayley. So I think you should have maybe made a decision before the Vegas games, because I think Blake Brayley was a great option. But Reed Marty's not far off. I think he's just a step below Blake Brayley. But if you're going that route, I don't mind it. Like, I don't mind going a safe hooker that can get you the points. I think I'd prefer like a Connor Watson potentially, or maybe a Max Plath. Maybe not what's going on at the moment with the Dolphins, but I think like a Cam McInnes would have been okay. A Connor Watson. I think you've missed the boat on. You've either got to go Harry Grant or Connor Watson. And if you're not going either of them, I think Mamazoulos is going to do a good enough job at the price, and you're saving cash. And that means you can get Garrick. But you do touch on the antipods route. And I kind of want to touch on what antipods I think people should be considering if you are considering it. So we do have the Facebook. Facebook. What am I talking about? We do have the most owned players in SuperCoach on your screen at the moment. I just need to make sure that that's good. Yep, there we go. Isaiah Yongi's number one at 66.1%. 97,000 people own Isaiah Yongi. That is ridiculous in my opinion. Yes, I get he looks electric. He looks really good. But are people playing him? Where have we got? Let me just double check the stats, to be honest. It doesn't say on here. I'm sure it's in this somewhere. Played starting bench. So 22% of people are starting him, 78% bench. I don't know if that means you've actually got the reserve on him. I think this is why I'm going the 3 fullback route. Because to be honest, if Isaiah Yongi kills it, I'll go one of my fullbacks. I'm planning on doing Ponga to Yongi in round 3 if I have to, and that'll fund cash for other trades that I need to do. At least you can watch Yongi, because honestly, what if he comes out, and I don't think this is going to happen, but what if he comes out and gets 30-30? Like, he's not really going to make much cash, and he's an issue at the fullback slot where you need to have a high-profile player. So I'm starting with 3 guns, just dealing with it elsewhere. I know the cash is tempting everywhere else, but by going 1 less gun at fullback, you're probably... I think you've got to capitalize elsewhere, and capitalizing elsewhere, a lot of people aren't sure whether to capitalize at hooker. It doesn't look like hooker's a really great position unless you're going Hay Grant, but then he's got the buy in round 2. The halves, Nico Hines and Cleary, didn't do that great. I think Duffy's a pretty good option at halfback. The 5'8's a bit of a wasteland. I think having a really strong second row is the best way to capitalize, and having a strong center wing. But at the same time, it's you've got Duffy there. We've got cheapies. We've got Hubner. We've got all these center wing cheapies. I think you can get by without Yongi. That being said, I think he does score well, but at the risk of not having a third gun fullback, I've got Reece Walsh. I think if Latrell was available, it'd be a different story. Like for me, it'd be a slam dunk. I get why Yongi's so highly owned, but I think you've got to, if you want to attack early, I think the 3-gun fullback is the way to go. And to be honest, Yongi could come out against Melbourne and not score that many. I think that's not going to happen. I think he gets Melbourne maybe 40. Let's say that. And then against his other matchups afterwards, I guess I don't know. But he doesn't have the ceiling that these other guys have that we know of. And yeah, I think that's why I'm anti-potting him. So Robert Toyer, 60.7%. I think he's a cheapy center wing. You need these guys to fund your side. In key positions, that's where I kind of push back on it. But in positions where you need to fill the spots, Robert Toyer's a perfect option. Corey Horsburgh, he's already locked in, 57.5%. Have him. Purdue, Sandon Smith. Sandon Smith is in a key position, but you can put him in hooker where the position is not as elite. I wouldn't be having him in halfback. I think obviously Duffy is really good, and then you've got Cleary. I think you've got to have Duffy and Cleary, or if you have Hines, that's a really good option as well. Metcalf, oh man, I wish I anti-potted Metcalf. I was feeling it in my gut, and I didn't go with it, but the stats and the preseason, everything adds up. I think we're going to be patient with Metcalf. Terrell May, 52.3%. I know I've seen some people try and anti-pot him, and that's, I guess, they're going the route of a Payne Haas or an AFB. To be honest, I think he's undervalued. I think he'll be the number one prop in the game by the end of the year, Supercoach wise. So I'd be sticking with Terrell May. I don't see an antipod route there. Nathan Cleary, he's already locked out, so I can't really convince anyone to antipod him, and he looked amazing. Why would you want to antipod Cleary? Number 9, Callum Ponga. Has a buy in round 4. So I think, in my opinion, Callum Ponga is someone you can consider antipoding. Does play the Tigers, who you look at his last 2 scores, 137 and 124 against the Tigers, but it is round 1. If you want to, if the Tigers want to play Callum Ponga in any round, it's round 1 when the cobwebs are still there. They did look good in the trials, but to be honest, look at Callum Ponga's scores against his next 2 opponents after that. The Dolphins, 106, 121 are his only outings versus the Dolphins. And the Titans, his last 2 performances, 118, 114. So for Callum Ponga, his first 3 rounds are really good. But my issue is he's playing 3 sides in the first few weeks of the competition. The Titans have a bye round 1, so effectively when he plays them, it'll be round 3. It'll be their round 2, so they'll still be hardened in defense. I find round 4, 5, 6 is when the defense starts to open up and you start to find cracks in the system. I find that he has the bye in round 4, and then he plays the Bulldogs. So I guess we see how the Bulldogs go. Could be defensively still strong. If Ponga looks like he's about to explode going into the bye, then I think picking him up after the Bulldogs matchup is probably the way to go if you're anti-potting him. But maybe you can just look at anti-potting him. I think his draw is pretty good to start the year, but as I said, defenses are much stronger at the start of the year. So if you want to anti-pot him, it is scary, but yeah, it's something you can consider. Tom Duffy, 198,000. 40.3% owned. I wouldn't consider anti-potting him. Room Garrick's an interesting one. 37.6% owned. 680K. I've talked about it all preseason. Averages 80 without his head knocks and injuries last year, but he is priced at a 69. My issue with Garrick is nothing says to me that Garrick is going to score badly this year. But to be honest, I'm not, like, he's one person I'm not 100% confident in. So for him, he's in my side and they've got a good draw to start the year. But as I said with Ponga, maybe this draw is too good to be true, but they are playing at Brookvale more often than not to start the year. So that's why I'm starting with him. And he is a goal kicker. So, and to be honest, if you're going to anti-pot Garrick, who are you anti-potting him for? Like, all these premium options in the center wing, you've got Lomax, you've got You've got who's Lomax Holmes. Maybe if you want to go to a Holmes, you've got Herbie, who has a pretty rough draw early on. Tom Trebojevic, number 12, 35% owned. Do you antipod Tommy? Is there a world where he starts slow? He didn't really come out of the blocks with hundreds last year, but he looked like he was on the cusp of it. So similar this year. Tino at 34.9% has the buy round one. I'm antipoding him, but I think he's a good option. I think he will be a slow burn though. So I think he's someone you potentially can antipod. Valmega, Tamale have already played. Connor Watson's at 27.5%. I think going down the list, it's very, because it's so spread out this year, apart from the top 10 who are mainly cheapies and certified guns, there's not many people to antipod this year, to be honest. So I'd be looking into I wouldn't be looking too far into antipodding. Like, I don't think anyone that is highly owned is owned for a bad reason, to be honest. I think they're very good. All right, we got Greg again. Which one, Hopgood or Ola and Gilbert versus Jack Williams? Hopgood or Ola? I've been on Olakuatu all preseason, and I love the look of Hopgood after the team list, but something just tells me a back injury is very awkward. So I would be holding off on Hopgood just to see how he looks. But, you know, if you're confident that he can play through this back injury, I'd go Hopgood 100%. I think Olakuatu, when Tommy's in the side, doesn't score as well. His ceiling isn't massive. Yes, I have said earlier in the preseason, if he gets 80 or 90, I'd be happy with that. But to be honest, he's not someone who's going to hurt you if you don't have him, which hurts me to say. He's actually out of my side at the moment. And I think that's kind of the reason. And Gilbert versus Jack Williams, this is funny because I put Jack Williams into my side for Kelma Tuolungi, and someone asked a question, rank Gilbert, Williams, and Seafarth, and I ranked Gilbert on top, so I didn't have the balls to get rid of Jack Williams. So I sold Olakuatu for Tom Gilbert. I think Tom Gilbert's a great buy. I love how he's been named captain. And pretty much my second row, Alex Seafarth, Jack Williams, Tom Gilbert, it's the leadership squad. All three players have been put into the leadership squad for this year. Gilbert's the captain. Jack Williams, leadership squad. Seafarth named captain in the reserve grade. And I dropped Olakuatu, who's been put in the leadership squad in the preseason. Sorry, just replying to a Patreon message because it's popping off at the moment. If you're not part of it, come on, come and join. You don't have to join. It's fine. We've got a nice little community there. And I feel like we're in for a big year. I reckon we're going to have the winner in it. Tyson Jones, Geimer or Goz as my 6-2 RF. Thanks, legend. Tyson, shout out to Tyson. Tyson Jones, he was the first Patreon member back in December. How crazy is that? Back in December when we started the preseason analysis, and it all comes down to the start of tomorrow. Well, it's already started, but tomorrow is the start of the rest of the year. So Geimer or Goz, I have a lot of pros and cons for both. I think Piakura eventually takes Goz's spot, and I think Geimer can only increase on his minute roll, but I think the Goz can jag a try or two in that side and potentially be a quicker like pump and dump type situation where he makes a bulk amount of cash early and then you can sell him nice and early. So Geimer does have the risk to be that guy who just gets like 25 off the bench every single week. And you don't want that. I don't know how many minutes he plays. I know the bench is pretty good. You've got Riley Smith coming off the bench. I've currently got Geimer, but I think Goz has won the spot. So I think I got to back my style of play and go Goz. As much as Geimer makes way more sense, I think I'm going Goz. Hunter Bailey, JMK, Robson, Marnie, or Watson. I'd probably go Watson. I like the flexibility between second row and hooker. I think he will spend some time in the middle. I think he's a really good purchase, Connor Watson. He is highly owned, nearly 30%, but I think that's for good reason. He's a weapon when he plays hooker and lock, and he's going to play both roles this year. Pete DeGale, shout out Pete. Thoughts on Chucky Simpkins as a dual nuff and Tony Couchman? Tony Couchman in general. I have a Gula, also Dewey or Howarth at center wing. Thanks, legend. Thank you, Pete, for the question. I've heard a lot of chat about Chucky Simpkins as a dual. I think the spy in the SE playbook really advertised for it, and I don't mind it at all. I think it is not a bad year to play enough. We've got an extra player, so we can deal with it. But I think since we do have an extra player, use it. Go up to a Royce Hunt if you can. Like, if he can average 10 points more than 25, which is very doable, goes over for a try and makes a quick amount of cash, then we've got all these jewels. We've got the Nafahu Whites, the Corey Horsburghs, the Tinos. You can sell him to anyone. You can sell him to any cheapie that comes through. You know, we didn't get Kitione Katonga from the Parramatta Eels. He won that spot in the preseason. He could definitely come in once he's fit. So, you know, we've got heaps of people ready to come through. There's heaps of cheaper players. We've got Sione Finau, who I think he's out with concussion potentially. I think we've got a lot of avenues to make money this year. I wouldn't be starting with enough, to be honest. Also, Dewey or Howarth at center wing. The round 2 buy really scares me for Howarth, and then he does play Penrith in round 3. So I do like Dewey. Take a punt on Dewey early with the goal kicking round 1. Hope he keeps it. And then, he's priced at a 44, average 50 last year, and then add the goal kick into that. I think there's a lot of value to be had with Dewey. Greg, again, are you abusing your powers here? No, you can ask as many questions as you like. Is going Pacifica Tonga to Hamish Stewart and Kelman to Gilbert good trades? I love it. Pacifica Tonga not named. Hamish Stewart is named. I do fear Hamish Stewart does potentially become the Franklin Pele, the Chris Patolo, the that type of player who you just can't get rid of every single year. I do fear that Hamish Stewart could become that. David Klemmer coming to the club potentially does potentially put his spot under risk. But I would definitely do that to go Kelmer to Gilbert, because I think Gilbert's a much better thing than Kelmer right now. But at the same time, a Royce Hunt, just go Royce Hunt and just try and figure it out. Try and figure out how to get to another player elsewhere. But if that's the only way you can do it, then I don't know, take a punt. Gary, I have Cleary as a flex playing Tino, which will give me double Cleary score. Do you think I should hold or reverse and go for another captain, say Ponga or Lomax? Go for another captain. 68 is not enough as a captain score. I think you've got plenty of upside. Terrell May will score more than 68, I guarantee you. So at least go Terrell May. A Ponga or Lomax is a pretty good option as well. Brad Thomas, which is better, Iongi and Marju or Skelton, or Duffy and Brimson? I've got halfback Hines and Cleary, fullback and Ponga. So we'll be using the flex position either Iongi or Duffy if that sways your decision. So effectively, it's Duffy or Yongi, because you can really go Brimson, Marju, or Skelton, whoever you want, as your gun center wing. But it's Yongi or Duffy in the flex. I think for me, it depends. Let's have a look at their draws. I would go Yongi. I mean, I do have Duffy, but it looks like you're not going the 3 fullback route. So I would go Yongi. Tom Duffy's draw is pretty tricky early on. I'll just get it up for you. I'll show his draw. So I'll top on the right. He has Seagulls at 4 Pines Park, Sharks away, Broncos at Suncorp. that's an awful draw over the first 3 for Duffy. Yes, I am very excited to have him. I am playing him this week. But I think Yongi, let's have a look at his draw. He's a fullback. I know Duffy might be goal kicking. So Yongi has Storm, Tigers, Bulldogs. It's slightly better. The Tigers matchup might be interesting. It just looks better than the other draw. It's not really worrying about traveling too much. I think Yongi at fullback. I'd just be more confident in Yongi. But Tom Duffy probably has more upside with the goal kicking. Do we have anything else? Let me just head to the WhatsApp and make sure I haven't missed anything. There's a lot of questions going on in the WhatsApp. So let's just go to a random question in the WhatsApp. I haven't put a call out for questions in the WhatsApp or anything. So all right. We've got Musti. He's posted his team. He's got Hosking at second row. He's got Connor Watson at second row. And he's asking for his thoughts. He's got Ponga, Trebojevic, and Walsh as his fullbacks. I love the 3 fullback play. He's got Azarko, Arthurs, Garrick, and Graham in his center wings. And everything else is pretty standard. Hines has already played. For me, I think for his side, Azarko's got to go. Azarko in that Dolphin side could be very weak, and especially on Herbie Farnworth's side. I've seen a lot of a love for Azarko, but at a very similar price, I'd go Dylan Lucas for sure. Campbell Graham, I'm a bit scared of Campbell Graham, to be honest. But if you're feeling it, and the Dolphins look like they could have a number of players out this week, Campbell Graham could be a good option, especially alongside Jamie Humphries trying to play for a spot. I just like the Skelton better potentially, but maybe are we overhyping Skelton? He's not really proven. Very small sample size. Maybe he's the antipod we got to go. But yeah, shout out to the Patreon group. Thank you for asking your questions. We'll do that every week. This will be a regular thing. I'll record on Wednesday nights and get it out to you Wednesday night. So thank you for tuning in. Once again, sorry for yesterday's episode, guys. I really hope we can make it up to you. Timmy is back next Tuesday. We've got Grant filling in every so often. Mikey is away, but he'll be in throughout the year. We've got other people coming in and out through the year. So had a lot of good feedback about Grant. So very happy that you guys are happy. So thank you so much. Enjoy your rugby league and up the wires. No. That's such a basic white person thing to say, up the wires. No, we're not upping the wires. Let's sign out with May the captain be ever in your favor. 108 points to Terrell May. Cheers, guys.